Part 45. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 441. And now the number of people led by Huanghua and Martian is just about the same as the number of survivors in Carter City before, which is less than 60,000. They are now walking around within the defensive wall. Pretend to live in the city, just like an ordinary survivor, to confuse the devourer. After everything is ready, Wang Feng and the others were fully prepared, waiting for the devourer to arrive. 3 days later, several figures appeared on the outskirts of Cat City. However, these figures did not enter the city directly. They seemed to be sentinels, just patrolling the outside of the city, as if they were here to investigate the city. Wang Feng ignored them, but stayed in the room quietly, watching them silently and keeping silent. These devourers seemed to be very careful. Maybe they had received the information about the previous damage, so they got closer little by little. Although they saw the survivors in the inner city, they still kept pace. Step alert. Perhaps it was because too many devourers had died here before, so the devourers who came now seemed to be very careful. At least, they did not rush up directly and do so as if they were invincible. Wang Feng looked at the approaching devourers, with a flash of murderous intent in his eyes. To him, these people were all the guys he wanted to kill, so naturally he didn't have to look at the faces of these devourers. The devourers slowly approached Wang Feng and the others. Wang Feng looked at these devourers coldly, and slowly made a decision in his heart. No matter what their superiors said, they should be killed anyway. Guy. The devourer slowly approached. Wang Feng watched slowly, his eyes slowly narrowed, looking at the devourers approaching him. The whole army is ready, Wang Feng said into the walkie-talkie. He is now far away from the devourer because he wants to kill the devourer behind him. Under the leadership of Wang Feng, none of these guardian warriors wanted to leave the battle. When they saw the devourers approaching, they just wanted to rush forward and kill these devourers. Hey! Come out! I see you, a devourer shouted. However, the guardian warriors ignored him and continued to hide there. Wang Feng even shouted directly, "What? Do you want to start attacking? Come on then." Hearing Wang Feng's voice, the devourers became more cautious and approached the center of Cat City little by little. In their opinion, it seemed that there was an ambush here, although there was indeed an ambush here. When the devourers approached, Wang Feng had been watching them. For some reason, Wang Feng suddenly felt that these guys seemed to be easy to deal with, not just because these guys were scattered now, but because, these guys, it's really scattered now. They now seem to know that Wang Feng and the others have long believed that they can defeat each other. Therefore, the current human beings, like those in the center of Cat, have no defense at all. One by one, just like normal life, it is still a quiet life in the city. What they don't know is that Wang Feng is staring at them now, waiting for them to rush forward and kill them all at once. Those pairs of eyes are watching their every move, waiting for them to attack them. As for the forward charge. Number 12. Are you sure it was this group of rubbish that killed your people? A devourer asked, looking at the guy leading the way. That's right. It's them, a devourer at the front replied. It seems that he is the number 12. The tallest among these people is just a 4th level creature. How can he kill you? The devourer said with a proud look. You, said the devourer who spoke first, level 4 creatures. Damn your level 4 creatures. Can level 4 creatures kill our entire team? Are you a fool? Damn you. You better restrain yourself. Don't let me curse. Haha. Number 12. I'm telling you. You guys are just idiots, the devourer laughed and said, I'll let you see how I wiped out this group of human beings. You watch it carefully. Grandson. I'll curse you in the language of this planet. You'd better be careful. If this continues, you won't even know how you died, the devourer said. Get the hell out of here. Shrink your head. Wait for my victory. Damn. It's just a group of natives. I killed them so easily. If it weren't for the brood regulations, when you arrive on a planet, you must use that planet. The language, I don't know how to speak such words. You are an idiot, the devourer looked at the arrogant devourer and said. Okay. I'm just a fool. So what? The devourer looked at the hope warriors wandering in the center of the city and said, just kill them all if you're awesome, don't ask me for help. Please help me, the devourer said proudly, these idiots. None of them are even level 4 creatures, how can they kill us? Just watch the show. Then go ahead. Let me see how you die, said the first devourer. He remembered quite clearly how his previous companions died. However, as a devourer, he seemed to have no need to remind himself. Brothers. Charge. Kill them, the devourer who spoke first took the lead in charging towards the hope warriors in the center of the city. To his surprise, those hope warriors saw these devourers. Those who rushed towards him actually raised their heads one by one and gave them a bright smile. You're paralyzed, the devourer who spoke first scolded, are you a fool? I told him that these people are very powerful, but he still goes up like this. You should actually be blamed for this, another devourer looked at this guy and said, if it weren't for your encouragement, he wouldn't have rushed forward. Now, he is riding a tiger. Get the hell out of here. When did I let him bring people up? Devourer number 12 said, damn it. I've been telling him not to go up there, okay. What do you mean? We really didn't hear it, the devourer who spoke said, then what should we do now? Hurry up. Your mother? Can you beat those guys? The first devourer to speak said, 100 devourers before us were wiped out in minutes. Does he think he is awesome because he is an elite? Having said this, the devourer looked at the devourer elite who took the lead in rushing towards the city center. As he expected, before the elite had reached half the distance, countless guardian warriors rushed out from the outskirts of Cat City and launched an attack on these devourers. Being caught off guard, the devourers suffered heavy losses. What surprised them most was that the elite devourer also lost his life with a scream. The person who killed him was none other than Shami San Xiao. When this elite rushed forward, Killer San Xiao had long relied on his latent skills to hide beside him. Although Wang Feng broke through the Awakener, San Xiao had never appeared, but this did not mean that they disappeared. They have always been by Wang Feng's side, but they also have their own methods of dealing with the devourer, but they have never told Wang Feng. After all, Sang Xiao and the others are much better at dealing with devourer than Wang Feng, because their planet was destroyed by devourer, so their experience can be said to be quite rich, and now they see devourer. The latter was so filled with hatred that he directly launched his attack and killed the devourer. When Wang Feng saw the devourer rushing forward, he shouted directly into the intercom because he was ambushing behind him. Originally, he was worried about the devourer elite. As a result, he now discovered that the devourer elite had not been there for a minute. He had already died in the ambush of Sang Xiao. He immediately ordered the whole army to attack. After shouting these words, Wang Feng's figure floated out directly and killed the devourer elite hidden aside. The devourer elite was originally watching the fun from behind. If they won, he would follow them. If they lost, he would retreat and report to his headquarters. However, he did not expect that Wang Feng and the others would. He actually knew what they were thinking and prepared here in advance to intercept him. The devourer elite was caught off guard. After Wang Feng attacked him, he reacted very quickly. However, because he was unprepared, he was still a little late. Wang Feng stabbed his knife into his lower abdomen, directly touching the core of his consciousness. The core of consciousness was absorbed by Apocalypse. This devourer elite did not even have a chance to struggle, so he died directly at the hands of Apocalypse. His death was immediately felt by another Devourer elite. He was about to pounce on Lu Feng's body, but immediately paused in the air, and then shouted loudly, "The whole army retreats." After shouting these words, the Devourer elite completely ignored the stunned eyes of the Devourers and stepped back, preparing to escape, because in his consciousness, those who could kill his companions would definitely be able to kill them. Myself, so. If you want to survive, you have no choice but to escape. What he thought was indeed correct, but the problem is that he rushed too far. Now that he goes back, Wang Feng can easily intercept him even if he doesn't activate the blast. Therefore, the thought of retreating now may be for him. It's too late. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 442. Number 7 was not idle at this time. Before the battle, Wang Feng told him that after the elite devourer was killed, he could directly devour their consciousness core to improve his strength without any scruples. So, when San Xiao killed the first devourer elite, number 7 rushed up directly, grabbed the dead devourer elite in his hand, and began to devour his body. Since the devourer's body is completely composed of life energy, the entire body of this devourer elite is the best tonic for number 7, and he certainly won't let it go. Wang Feng saw number 7 devouring the devourer elite's body, so he pounced on it and entangled the devourer elite who was about to escape, but did not kill him, because Wang Feng was going to leave this devourer elite to number 7. If he kills this guy, Apocalypse will directly absorb the consciousness core of this guy, and number 7 will not be able to benefit. Wang Feng remembered that number 7 had said before that if he wanted to advance to an elite devourer, he had to absorb the consciousness cores of at least 2 devourers of this level. Now he is absorbing the one that San Xiao killed, and with this one, it should be almost done. After being entangled by Wang Feng, this elite devourer had no chance to get rid of Wang Feng. Although he had the strength of a level 6 creature, which was a full level higher than Wang Feng, his devouring skills were completely ineffective for Wang Feng, which made this elite devourer extremely depressed now. He had had physical contact with Wang Feng several times, but he was shocked to find that his devouring had no effect on Wang Feng at all, and he had no way to absorb vitality from Wang Feng's body. But he could clearly feel the vigorous vitality in Wang Feng's body, and these vitalities seemed to have some reaction to his devouring, but they could not be devoured by him. After realizing that his trump card was ineffective against the opponent, the devourer elite began to think of ways to escape, but because Wang Feng was faster than him, this guy had no way to get rid of Wang Feng. Looking around him, the devourer elite found that the devourers they brought with them were now surrounded by humans pouring out of those buildings, and these humans seemed to be very familiar with their fighting methods and would not be touched by their bodies at all. Countless fire powers poured out from the bodies of these humans and flew towards these devourers. At the moment of the first contact, these devourers suffered heavy losses, with more than half of them being directly injured or killed. After a round of baptism of fire powers, there were only less than 50 devourers left out of more than 150, and the battle losses exceeded 2/3. Moreover, all of these dead devourers were reduced to ashes, and their deaths were quite thorough. Although their bodies were transformed from life energy, for Wang Feng, the corpse of each devourer was equivalent to a huge number of apocalypse points, but Wang Feng did not ask the guardian warriors to keep the devourer's corpse as much as possible. Although it is not impossible for Wang Feng to let those guardian warriors kill the devourers like the 3-man killing team before, but in that case, the guardian warriors will definitely suffer casualties. Wang Feng will certainly not use the lives of these guardian warriors in exchange for apocalypse points. Apocalypse points are extremely important to Wang Feng, and even to the entire Hope base, but the lives of the guardian warriors are more important to Wang Feng, so Wang Feng will let these guardian warriors go all out and kill those devourers directly without considering keeping their bodies. The devourer elite saw the battle situation on their side and regretted it greatly. Perhaps it was because everything seemed too smooth for them after they came to this planet, and seeing that the strength of these humans was very poor, they did not have too much defense. Unexpectedly, these humans made a move and let them learn a lesson that made them unforgettable. Now, not only did they lose 2/3 of their ordinary devourers, but even 2 of the 3 elite devourers were killed, also a loss of 2/3. Moreover, the battle is not over yet. After killing their targets, the humans who attacked before directly withdrew from the battlefield. Because they had used all their strength before, without any reservation, their physical strength was consumed quite a lot, and they were no longer able to launch another attack. The other Guardian warriors quickly replenished themselves after they withdrew, and the life energy in their bodies quickly gathered, and then they launched another attack on the Devourers who had escaped by chance. Seeing this situation, the elite Devourer was desperate. Wang Feng was very fast, and he had no way to get rid of him. The other Devourers were too busy to come to support him. It seemed that they were going to be wiped out here today. As the Guardian warriors launched the second round of attacks, the idea of this Devourer elite was finally confirmed. The remaining less than 50 Devourers were wiped out in this round of attacks. This was because the Guardian warriors had hidden very well before and started the attack as soon as they appeared. Since these Devourers were focused on the Hope warriors, they were caught off guard and had no time to fight back. Most of them were killed. Before they could fully react, the second round of attacks came again. As a result, these Devourers were completely wiped out before they could cause any damage to the Guardian warriors. At this time, the body of the elite Devourer in No 7's hand had completely disappeared. He had devoured it completely. Looking at the expression on his face, he seemed very satisfied. However, in the blink of an eye, he set his sights on the elite Devourer who was still fighting with Wang Feng. This guy is a bit miserable now. Although Wang Feng cannot kill him directly, it is no problem to cut off some of his body and put it into Apocalypse. After all, number 7 mainly wants the consciousness core of this elite Devourer, so Wang Feng has cut off a small part of his body and put it into Apocalypse, which becomes Apocalypse points. This elite Devourer also saw Wang Feng's purpose. After his arm was cut off by Wang Feng twice in a row, this Devourer simply stopped repairing his body. He knew that he could not escape because he was not as fast as Wang Feng and could not beat Wang Feng. However, what he did not understand was that Wang Feng could kill him, so why did he not do it? Instead, it seemed like he was stalling for time. "Don't you want to kill me?" the Devourer elite suddenly stopped and asked Wang Feng. Seeing him stop, Wang Feng also retracted Tiankai and stopped attacking. He also looked at the Devourer elite, shook his head and said, "It's not that I don't want to kill you, but you are useful to a guy, so he wants him to kill you. I am only responsible for preventing you from escaping and assisting that guy to kill you." Useful to a guy, the Devourer elite was stunned, and then asked, "Who?" "Me." Number 7 had already come here. After hearing the Devourer elite's question, he stood up and said directly, "You." Looking back at number 7, the Devourer elite couldn't help but ask in astonishment, "Are you a Devourer?" "Yes. I am a Devourer," number 7 nodded. "My team was destroyed here by them, but they didn't kill me. Instead, they gave me some life cores, which made me have independent consciousness and get rid of the control of the mother nest. So, I am now an independent Devourer, and I have become an ally with him. In order to improve my strength, he kept you until now, in order to leave your consciousness core to me. I have just devoured another elite, and with yours, I should be able to become an elite Devourer." Autonomous consciousness, the Devourer elite was shocked, turned to look at Wang Feng and asked, "Do you have a life core?" "Yes. But not much," Wang Feng nodded. "I am also willing to surrender, as long as you can give me some life cores to help me get rid of the control of the mother nest." The Devourer elite was excited, looked at Wang Feng with expectation and said, "I am stronger than him, and I am originally an elite level. Even if he devours me, he may not be able to advance 100%. I am more useful than him, and my level is originally higher than his. I know more about our situation. If you cooperate with me, you can get more help. Wang Feng seemed a little surprised after hearing the words of this elite devourer. He did not expect that this devourer elite would take the initiative to surrender. It seems that the attraction of life cores to devourers is really not small. Seeing that Wang Feng seemed to be considering the words of this devourer elite, number 7 couldn't help but feel a little nervous. This guy was right. If Wang Feng chose to cooperate with this guy, it would be better than cooperating with himself. However, if he accepted this guy again, what should he do? Let's not talk about anything else. Let's just say that Wang Feng originally wanted to find a guy who could take him to the headquarters to assassinate the Devourer commander. This Devourer elite could undoubtedly do this easily because he was originally an elite level existence. Because there are not many elites, the Devourer commander knows every elite. A familiar face can easily send Wang Feng to the commander with any excuse to execute his assassination plan. Thinking of this, number 7 couldn't help but look at Wang Feng, but he didn't speak, because if Wang Feng wanted to choose this Devourer elite and give up him, no matter what he said, it would be useless. Wang Feng looked at number 7, then at the Devourer elite, nodded to the latter and said, "You are right. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 443. After hearing Wang Feng's words, different expressions appeared on the faces of number 7 and the Devourer elite. The Devourer elite was naturally happy, while no 7's eyes looked a little gloomy. However, Wang Feng's next words made the two Devourers stunned at the same time, and then their expressions reversed at the same time. However, your suggestion is not in our plan, and I don't have many life cores, so I don't want to waste them. Devourer, I took one, it's enough, I don't need so many. Wang Feng looked at the Devourer elite and said, since he had reached an agreement with number 7, there was no need to recruit another Devourer. One is that Wang Feng didn't want to waste the life core, and the other is that Devourers are not human after all, so there is no use in taking in so many. Wang Feng is not the kind of person who will destroy the bridge after crossing the river. If he really destroyed the mother nest, he would not turn the gun around and kill the Devourer who surrendered. Those who are not of my kind must have different hearts. Wang Feng is not going to let too many Devourers exist on his planet. One is enough. Of course, Wang Feng does not know that number 7 is not the only Devourer with independent consciousness on this planet. After hearing what Wang Feng said, the Devourer elite sighed, then turned to look at number 7, and said sadly, I really envy you now. No matter what the final outcome is, after all, you once had real freedom. Come and devour me. I won't resist. The Devourer elite understands his situation very well. He knows that no matter how much he resists, it is just a waste of time. There is no change in his final outcome. Instead of doing this, it is better to fulfill number 7 and die more happily. Although Wang Feng was a little surprised by the Devourer elite's decision, he did not speak, nor did he put away the apocalypse. Instead, he still looked at the Devourer elite vigilantly to prevent accidents. Number 7 walked towards the Devourer elite. When the two Devourers faced each other, the elite took the initiative to stretch out his one arm, as if to shake hands with number 7. Seeing this, Wang Feng finally determined that the Devourer elite had really given up resistance, because under the gaze of the Sky Eye, Wang Feng clearly saw that the Devourer's weak spot had been transferred to the palm he stretched out. In other words, he transferred his consciousness core to his hand and then sent it to number 7. Number 7 looked down at the Devourer elite's palm, then took a deep breath, and then grabbed the palm. The Devourer elite's eyes quickly dimmed and soon lost their luster, because number 7 had completely devoured his consciousness core. For the Devourer, this was real death. After devouring the Devourer Elite's consciousness core, number 7 did not continue to absorb his body, but directly let go of his hand, sat cross-legged on the ground, and prepared to break through. He had just devoured the body of a Devourer Elite, and at this time the life energy in his body was saturated and could no longer devour the Devourer Elite's body. Wang Feng walked over and took the Devourer Elite into Apocalypse before he fell to the ground. Although the Devourer Elite chose to give up resistance, Wang Feng still absorbed his body directly and turned it into Apocalypse points. Wang Feng naturally had no good feelings towards these invaders. If it weren't for the need for a Devourer to lead the way, even Wang Feng number 7 would not stay. Looking back behind him, Wang Feng found that all the battles were over. The Devourer army was completely wiped out, and there were not even a few corpses left. Most of the Devourers were burned to ashes by the fire power. After a circle on the battlefield, several Devourers who left their bodies were taken into the Apocalypse space. Then, Wang Feng waved his hand, called Lu Feng and Meng Fei over, and took them into the hurricane armor. Old Lu, Old Meng, Wang Feng opened the electronic map and pointed to the city next to Cat City and said, "Among the Devourers we killed today, some were called from here. According to number 7, there shouldn't be too many Devourers here now, and there are no elites. There are only 20 to 30 predators at most. So I won't go here. I'll leave it to you. No matter whether number 7 is promoted or not, I will take him away and go directly to the Devourer headquarters to try to kill a commander first. As for your subsequent actions, you can decide for yourself. You can go to clean up some places with fewer Devourers. But you must pay attention to safety, and don't divide your troops." Now we felt it was easy to fight the Devourers because we knew their weaknesses in advance. They were all awakened with fire powers, which just happened to restrain them. In addition, these guys were relatively careless, and our Guardian Warriors focused their fire power every time they attacked, so we achieved such results. However, this situation is only effective in the early stage, and it is impossible to be so efficient every time, so you must not be careless. These Guardian Warriors with fire powers are our main force in the future battle against the Devourers, and there must be no losses. In short, remember, your actions in the future must be based on your own safety. You must never do things that kill 1,000 people and hurt yourself 800. Do you understand? Wang Feng said seriously that he was going to take number 7 away and go directly to the Devourer's base camp. As for this side, it would naturally be handed over to Lu Feng and Meng Fei. However, he was worried that too many Guardian Warriors would be killed, so he had to warn them in particular. These Guardian Warriors would be Wang Feng's trump card to fight against the Devourer in the future. He didn't want to go to the Devourer headquarters and come back to find that these Guardian Warriors were almost dead. Don't worry. Crazy. I understand, Lu Feng nodded and said, actually, this is also simple. We just need to attack the small teams, and we will make them attack when they are at their peak every time. We will never fight continuously. Isn't it guerrilla warfare? I understand this. Well, that's good, Wang Feng nodded and said, I will keep Sang Xiao as well. From the situation just now, they can kill the Devourer elites directly when they are not prepared. I can feel more at ease if I keep them. Crazy, Meng Fei interrupted at this time, I think you should take Sang Xiao with you. You are going to assassinate the Devourer commander this time. Sang Xiao's abilities are all very suitable for assassination. With them, your chances of success will be greater. No need. I have already thought of a way to meet the commander. Sang Xiao will not be used in the past. Let them stay here. I will let them listen to your command. Wang Feng shook his head and refused. He planned to let number 7 take him to the Devourer headquarters directly at that time, saying that he is the commander of a base with tens of millions of people under him. He believed that once he said that, he would definitely be received by the Devourer commander, and because of the existence of the Apocalypse space, he could meet the Devourer commander empty-handed. For a person without weapons, the Devourer commander would not be too defensive against him. At that time, he could just expose a trace of the breath of the life core to attract the Devourer commander. Wang Feng's confidence came from the life core. Looking at the reaction of the Devourer elite just now, Wang Feng could fully judge how tempting the life core was to the Devourer. Although he could not give the Devourer commander enough life core to restore his autonomous consciousness, he could still use it to attract the commander. Seeing Wang Feng's insistence, Meng Fei nodded and stopped objecting. Then he looked at Lu Feng and asked, "When are you going to leave?" "We'll set off as soon as that guy is ready." Wang Feng pointed to number 7 outside and said, "On the way, I will try my best to cause trouble for those Devourers and attract their attention. On your side, try not to leave any fish slipping through the net when killing Devourers. After all, this place is too close to our Hope Base. If the Hope Base is exposed, it will be very disadvantageous to us, so you can go slower, but try to be foolproof." "Don't worry. There will be no problem," Meng Fei nodding, "it's just for safety, that's easy." "Just go." Lu Feng also nodded and said, "When you come back, the Guardian Corps will definitely still be there. I will try my best to ensure that they don't lose a single person." "Okay," Wang Feng nodded, and then shouted loudly, "Wang Mi! You come out!" As Wang Feng shouted, Wang Mi's figure appeared in front of Wang Feng like a ghost, making Lu Feng and Meng Fei's mouths twitch. It's a pity that this guy doesn't become a killer. If they really want to kill people, I'm afraid that no one present, including Wang Feng, can be sure to survive their assassination. Wang Mi. Number 7 and I will go to the Devourer headquarters. You don't have to go this time. Stay here to assist Lao Lu and Lao Meng. Wang Feng didn't ask where Wang Sha and Wang Lu were. Anyway, he knew that the two guys were probably nearby, and even if they came out, they wouldn't talk, so he could just talk to Wang Mi alone. After hearing Wang Feng's order, Wang Mi hesitated for a moment, then looked at Wang Feng and said, "If you want to assassinate the Devourer commander, you might as well take us with you. We are very confident that we can directly assassinate the Devourer commander." Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 444. After hearing Wang Mi's words, Wang Feng couldn't help but be surprised. In fact, even he himself could not guarantee that this assassination operation would be 100% successful. Now Wang Mi, this little guy, actually said that he was sure to kill him. That Lord Devourer. After looking at Wang Mi, Wang Feng hesitated for a moment, shook his head and said, "No. I'll go this time. Just stay here and help Lao Lu and the others." Wang Feng thought very simply. His assassination method is different from that of Sang Xiao. He cannot sneak into the Devourer headquarters quietly like Sang Xiao did. He has to rely on the leadership of number 7 to get close to the Devourer commander before he can start his assassination operation. In other words, his method can only be used once. Regardless of success or failure, there is no way to use it again next time. Therefore, now that the Devourers don't know the existence of the Hope Base, Wang Feng can assassinate the other party at this time. If the three little ones are really sure of assassinating the commander of the Devourers, then they might as well let them assassinate the remaining ones. If one commander goes there, after all, once he starts the assassination operation, the other commander will definitely get the news. At that time, his own methods can no longer be used. At that time, if he wants to kill the remaining Devourer commander, he will probably have to dispatch the Third Army. Moreover, when Wang Feng goes out this time, he will have to arrive after the assassination. Go to the other Devourers' territory to try and divert their attention, so Wang Feng directly rejected the third child's suggestion. Hearing Wang Feng's words, Wang Mi did not insist, but just nodded, then looked at Lu Feng and Meng Fei, and said softly, "We will always be near you. When you need us, just call my name." After saying this, Wang Mi's figure flashed away from the hurricane. At this time, number 7, who was sitting cross-legged, seemed to have completed devouring the core of consciousness of the devourer elite. He opened his eyes, then stood up and looked at the hurricane. Wang Feng walked out of the hurricane and looked at number 7. Asked, "How was it?" Number 7 nodded and smiled, "Succeeded." Wang Feng nodded and said calmly, "So. Are we ready to set off?" "Okay. No problem," number 7 agreed happily, "as long as you are ready, we can set off at any time." Wang Feng thought for a while, turned back to Huicheng, took out a tablet computer from the car, and then downloaded a copy of the electronic map in the car. Then he put away the computer and came to Lu Feng and Meng Fei. "I'll leave first." "Yes. Remember, be careful." The two of them nodded together, and Lu Feng said directly, "Don't worry, and in fact, the one who needs to be careful most should be you." "Me," Wang Feng said with a smile, "I will definitely come back, just wait and see." "Old Lu. Do you think this lunatic guy can kill the Devourer commander?" Looking at Wang Feng and No 7's leaving figures, Meng Fei suddenly asked Lu Feng. "No problem," Lu Feng replied without thinking, "this guy has never lacked miracles, and this time, it must be the same." "Yes. This guy." Meng Fei nodded and sighed, "He can always bring some surprises to people." Number 7. As an elite devourer, can you command those ordinary predators? While walking on the road, Wang Feng suddenly remembered something and asked. "No," number 7 shook his head and said, "the brood mark in the core of my consciousness has disappeared. Although I am now an elite devourer, I cannot command those predators." In other words, other devourers can also feel that your brood mark has disappeared. Wang Feng was stunned. This is not good news. If this is true, then how can number 7 lead Wang Feng into the devourers' headquarters? Go see the devourer commander? The devourers who are higher than me can feel this, but those at the same level cannot. Number 7 explained, the devourers rely on the brood mark to give orders to other devourers who are lower than themselves. And the devourer simply cannot refuse the order given through the brood mark, and can only obey it. Even if it is given to him, he can only obey it. If the commander wants to give me an order, he will definitely command me through the brood mark. At that time, he will find that my brood mark has disappeared. This is equivalent to the devourer. If you betray the nest, you will be surrounded and killed by all the devourers. So, after losing the brood mark, I will no longer be controlled by the commander or a higher level devourer, but similarly, I will not be able to control other devourers, no matter how high my level is. However, predators or elite devourers, because they can't control me with the brood mark now, they can't feel my changes. As long as I don't appear in front of the commander-in-chief, I basically don't have to worry about being exposed. As for getting in front of the commander-in-chief, our goal has been achieved anyway, so it's not a big deal if we find out, right?" Wang Feng thought for a while and found that this was indeed the case. As soon as he got in front of the commander, Wang Feng would start to take action. At that time, even if the commander-level devourer discovered the problem of number 7, it would be irrelevant. "Shall we go directly to the headquarters?" asked number 7. "No. Let's go around here and clear out the devourers gathered in these dozen places." Wang Feng took out the tablet and drew a circle on the map displayed on the tablet with his finger. Previously, number 7 did not recommend that Wang Feng kill all the way, because he was worried that their route would be exposed, allowing the devourer to discover the location of the Hope base from this route. However, Wang Feng thought about it, if there was nothing along the way, it seems to be a bit of a loss to do it. After all, these devourers are not only enemies to Wang Feng, but also a huge wealth. Every time a devourer is absorbed, it will bring a large amount of apocalypse points to Wang Feng, which means that the base can hope to have a few or even a dozen more awakened ones. Therefore, Wang Feng felt that if he was afraid that the Hope base would be exposed, why not just go in a straight line and go around in a few circles? It can reduce the number of enemies and earn yourself apocalypse points, so why not do it? After looking at the route drawn by Wang Feng, number 7 nodded and said, "Okay. Now that you have decided, just follow this route." After number 7 finished speaking, he looked at the map carefully and studied it. Looking at the route Wang Feng drew, he suddenly asked in surprise. "These are devourer teams without elite devourers leading them." "That's right," Wang Feng nodded. "Now that you have become an elite devourer, there is no need for us to provoke those devourers led by elites, especially since there are many devourers led by elites. There are more than 100 of them, and I'm worried that when I go to kill them, a few of them will escape, and the news will leak out, which will make the commander-in-chief be wary of us, which will be more than worth the loss. The teams I choose are all squads of dozens of people. There are no elites, and your identity will not be exposed. For me, this is just a way to make some extra money. The real killing will be after killing the commander." Endless murderous intent flashed in Wang Feng's eyes. After learning that Devourer's devouring skills were ineffective against him, Wang Feng already had the idea of killing Devourer single-handedly. With his speed and the characteristics of Apocalypse, Wang Feng is absolutely confident to break into the Devourer team of 100 people. Even if he cannot destroy them all, at least retreating by himself is not a problem. The reason why he chooses a team of dozens of people now is because Wang Feng is afraid that some fish will slip through the net and leak his information to make it more difficult for him to assassinate the Devourer commander. After all, that is the most important thing. After successfully assassinating the Devourer commander, Wang Feng will let those Devourers know what price they need to pay for invading their own planet. Looking at Wang Feng's solemn gaze, number 7 shivered for no reason. He suddenly felt a little lucky that Wang Feng chose to cooperate with him, because he suddenly felt that being Wang Feng's enemy might not be a good thing. The Devourer of the universe seems to have really met his enemy this time. Number 7 has fought against Wang Feng and knows how powerful Wang Feng is. Especially he knows that Wang Feng's body is completely immune to their Devourer's devouring skills, which is absolutely fatal to the Devourer. The reason why the Devourers are invincible in every planet in the past, raging like locusts passing through, relies on their devouring skills. Any life form that has physical contact with them will be instantly swallowed by their devouring skills. Control, and then be drained of the vitality and life energy in the body, and die miserably and abnormally. Now this skill has finally met its nemesis, and a human has appeared who is not afraid of their devouring skills at all. Fortunately, only Wang Feng is like this. If all humans are immune to their skills, the Devourers will never dare to come here. The planet is wreaking havoc, because that is simply asking for trouble. Almost. It's right there, Wang Feng pointed to a town in front, with a cruel smile on his face. "Let's open one here before it gets dark." There are about 40 Devourers in this town, all of them are predators. In the town, there are also hundreds of humans who were kidnapped by them. In a nearby city, they threw the life ball in there. A large group of zombies were attracted to gather in that city. Gathering those zombies was their real job, and they chose to stay in this town temporarily and captured some humans as their own snacks. However, they little do they know that an evil star has already arrived here, ready to wield a butcher's knife against them. Their doom is about to come. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 445. Wang Feng and number 7 approached the town cautiously. Perhaps they were living a little too peacefully, but these Devourers didn't even leave a single sentry behind. They all stayed in the room. Some dried human corpses were randomly thrown in. Looking at their old and withered images in the streets of the small town, one can tell at a glance that these poor people have been treated as food by the Devourers who have sucked out the vitality and life energy in their bodies. Wang Feng was furious. Regardless of whether he knew these people or not, they were also the same kind as Wang Feng. Seeing their ending, Wang Feng would inevitably feel a little sad. Because of the induction of the apocalypse, Wang Feng was the location of the devourers was soon clear. All these devourers were gathered in a hotel. Looking at the door of the hotel, Wang Feng's eyes flashed with a cold light. He suddenly stood up, no longer hiding himself, and said softly to number 7, "This time just watch from the sidelines, there's no need for you to take action." After finishing speaking, Wang Feng didn't wait for No. 7's answer and strode directly towards the 8-story hotel. At the same time, he shook his head from side to side and looked around the town, pretending to be a lone survivor. Came to this town to look for supplies. When Wang Feng was still more than 100 meters away from the hotel, the devourers inside discovered him. However, because Wang Feng did not have a weapon in his hand at this time and was alone, the devourers did not pay too much attention. But a devourer came out, ready to take down Wang Feng. For the devourers, human beings are their food. Although there is only one person, wasting food is always a bad habit, so they pointed out a devourer and planned to eat Wang Feng as a snack. Seeing the devourer coming towards him, Wang Feng waved his hand and took the initiative to say hello to the devourer. After he came out and saw Wang Feng, the devourer's eyes also lit up, because he discovered that Wang Feng turned out to be a human who has reached the 5th level of life, has very powerful life energy in his body. He can't help but feel happy and secretly thinks that he has got a big deal today. The more powerful the creature is, the more life energy the devourer will get when it devours it. This devourer originally just wanted to come out to have a snack, but he didn't expect that what was coming towards him was a Fuka banquet. "Where are you a survivor? Why did you come to our town alone?" The devourer also waved at Wang Feng and asked loudly. Originally, he planned to kill Wang Feng directly, but now he saw Wang Feng actually reached the standard of a 5th level creature, which meant that his strength was not much worse than him. So this devourer planned to pretend to be a human first, lower Wang Feng's vigilance, and then suddenly launch a sneak attack, which would save a lot of trouble. It's just that this devourer never imagined that Wang Feng had Tiankai as a cheating device. Any devourer who wanted to pretend to be a human in front of Wang Feng was just wishful thinking. What's more, since this town was previously occupied by zombies. After they lured the zombies away, they used this place as a hiding place. However, since these devourers are not afraid of zombies at all, this town has no defensive buildings. In the end of the world, where can there be such a gathering place for survivors? Even if Wang Feng didn't have Tiankai, he would still feel that something was wrong here. However, Wang Feng did not expose the devourer. Instead, he responded with a smile, "I came from that direction. Our camp was attacked by zombies. I got separated from my friends and ran here accidentally. I want to see if they are here." "Oh. We really had a few people here a few days ago. Come in and see if you recognize him." Devourer did not doubt that he was there, so he immediately hit the snake with a stick and pointed to the inside of the hotel. There are indeed a lot of human beings in this hotel, but they are all locked up in the underground parking garage of this hotel. They eat, drink, and have sex there, and all the entrances and exits of the garage are sealed by them. Because of the heavy fog, now basically all humans have at least the strength of an enhancer, so even if they jump from the 8th floor, they will not fall to their death. Therefore, the only way to contain these survivors is in the underground garage, which is more reliable and easy to guard. Hearing the devourer's words, Wang Feng pretended to be surprised and said loudly, "Really? That's great. Please take me to see it." Quickly while speaking, Wang Feng also quickened his pace, walked towards the devourer. "Hello. My name is number 7. Where are you?" When devourer saw Wang Feng coming to him, he stretched out his hand and made a gesture to shake hands with Wang Feng, and introduced himself at the same time. No 7, Wang Feng was stunned, thinking what a coincidence. This devourer is also number 7, but it is obvious that his luck is much worse than that of number 7, because this number 7 is about to die. Wang Feng also stretched out his hand to shake the hand extended by number 7, but did not say his name. Number 7 did not care about this at all, because the purpose of shaking hands with Wang Feng was to use this action to kill Wang Feng. As long as their palms are clasped together, his devouring skill will be activated immediately. Although this human has reached the 5th level of creatures, after his devouring skill is activated, when his vitality is lost, the huge pain will make this human lose the ability to resist in an instant, becoming a lamb to be slaughtered, and can only let himself suck his body dry, turning into a dry and old corpse. Pa, the devourer and Wang Feng's palms clasped together, and then a ferocious smile appeared on the devourer's face. He looked at Wang Feng, laughed and said, "Ha ha ha ha. Goodbye, little guy, thank you." Then, the devourer activated the devouring skill and stared at Wang Feng's face. He wanted to see if this powerful human who reached the 5th level of creature would have a look of fear and despair on his face when his vitality was sucked away by him, just like the humans he had devoured before. However, his smile froze on his face immediately, because he found that his devouring skill did not seem to work on this human. Then, he saw Wang Feng's mouth corners curled up, revealing a cruel smile, and then he heard the last words of his life. "You're welcome. Goodbye," Wang Feng said softly, and then, the knife light flashed on his left hand, and Apocalypse appeared out of thin air. Without any pause, he directly inserted it into the lower abdomen of the devourer, pierced his consciousness core, and directly devoured his consciousness core. After completing this action, Wang Feng did not stop at all, and directly put the body of the dead devourer into the Apocalypse space. Because each devourer's body contains a lot of life energy, Apocalypse also needs a few seconds to completely absorb a devourer, so it is better to put him into the Apocalypse space before absorbing him. The main thing is to see a person slowly shrinking in front of him, and finally disappearing. This feeling is very strange, so for the absorption of the devourer, Wang Feng basically did it all in the Apocalypse space. The scene of this devourer being killed by Wang Feng was also seen by many devourers in the hotel. They were originally looking at this devourer with envy, because when Wang Feng walked to the door of the hotel, they also felt the powerful life energy in Wang Feng's body, and they all regretted why they didn't go out by themselves, but let the idiot number 7 pick up such a big bargain. But now they finally know that it seems that number 7 is really an idiot, and the human outside is definitely not simple. At least, their identities must have been exposed, because everyone knows that the lower abdomen is not a fatal part of humans. Whoever kills will not attack the lower abdomen first. The head and heart are the weak points of humans. And Wang Feng's attack just now directly attacked the lower abdomen, that was where the devourers of their level stored their consciousness cores, and when Wang Feng's Apocalypse was inserted into the devourer's body, the devourers inside all clearly felt that number 7 was dead. At the window on the 2nd floor, several devourers who were looking down directly broke the window when No 7's body disappeared, and then jumped down and surrounded Wang Feng in the middle. After they appeared, more devourers also broke the windows and jumped out. Seeing these devourers appear, Wang Feng didn't say anything at all, but directly waved Apocalypse and rushed towards these devourers. These devourers were quite smart, because they saw number 7 being killed by Wang Feng, so they understood at least two things. One is that Wang Feng knew where their consciousness cores were hidden, and the other is that when, of course, the weapon in Wang Feng's hand was strange. It was definitely not an ordinary knife, because physical attacks could not cause any damage to the consciousness core of the devourer, not to mention that number 7 was basically killed by him in an instant. So, while breaking the window and jumping down, these devourers moved their consciousness cores one after another, although there was a strange rule among the devourers that low-level devourers could not hide their consciousness cores too high. But this was only when there were high-level devourers present. Now all the devourers here were predators, so naturally there was no such estimate. Therefore, basically, except for the heart and head, which were originally the fatal points of humans, the locations of the consciousness cores of these devourers could be said to be varied, and they were hidden everywhere. However, their approach was completely useless for Wang Feng, who had the ability of the Sky Eye. No matter where they hid their consciousness cores, Wang Feng could see it at a glance. So, the real massacre officially began under the swing of Wang Feng's apocalypse. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 446. When Wang Feng rushed into the Devourers' camp with Apocalypse in hand, these Devourers were not too vigilant. Although Wang Feng could be said to have killed a Devourer in an instant, in the eyes of those Devourers, Wang Feng was a close-range sneak attack, and their number 7 was just unprepared, so he was killed by Wang Feng. Now they have dispatched more than half of their personnel. Even if Wang Feng is a level 5 creature, he will definitely be surrounded and killed by them and eventually become their food. These Devourers even seem to have heard Wang Feng's dying wail. However, there will always be a big gap between ideal and reality. In the next moment, these Devourers found that they seemed to have overestimated themselves. This human was not here to deliver takeout to them, but a life-claiming impermanence. Puff. 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 Puff, the sound of a sharp blade piercing flesh rang out. Each sound represented the death of a devourer. At the moment of attack, Wang Feng had already activated his swift wind ability. The apocalypse in his hand kept slashing at various parts of the devourer's bodies. Each part was the location of the devourer's consciousness core. The devourer team was in chaos instantly. They had never thought that there was such a terrifying creature on this planet, as if it was born to be their nemesis. Although Wang Feng was very fast, several of them still came into contact with Wang Feng's body while he was killing them. However, the screams they expected did not come out, because Wang Feng showed no signs of being devoured. Instead, the devourer who was about to devour him died quickly after being stabbed by Wang Feng, and his body mysteriously disappeared the next moment. This strange situation shocked the Devourers, but their reaction was too slow. When the Devourers who survived by chance were still hesitating whether to escape quickly, they suddenly found that there seemed to be less than 10 Devourers in the field. There were a total of 45 Devourers in this town. After the battle began, the alarmed Devourers almost all joined the battle. Except for the 2 Devourers who were guarding the humans in the underground garage, the rest had all appeared outside the hotel, around Wang Feng. Now, in less than a minute, only 6 or 7 of the 42 Devourers were left, almost completely wiped out. Moreover, since Wang Feng would directly store the body of a Devourer in the apocalypse space every time he killed one, the dead Devourers did not leave any traces on the scene, as if they had never appeared. The remaining Devourers finally collapsed and turned around to flee for their lives. However, if they did so as soon as they saw Wang Feng, some of them would have run away. Now, it was too late. Puff, Wang Feng threw out Apocalypse and pierced a Devourer's shoulder from behind. The Devourer's body suddenly stiffened, and then, together with Apocalypse, disappeared from the spot. After killing the last Devourer, Wang Feng turned around and walked into the hotel, because under the induction of Apocalypse, Wang Feng knew that there were still 2 Devourers alive in the hotel's underground garage, and Wang Feng would certainly not let them go. Watching Wang Feng disappear in the hotel, number 7, who had seen the whole process, sighed softly, and a trace of worry appeared on his face. Although Wang Feng once again proved his terrifying strength in this battle, they were going to the Devourer headquarters to assassinate the commander. There were not just dozens of the lowest level predators, but thousands of predators and at least 500 elite Devourers plus a commander. Now number 7 has a good understanding of Wang Feng's combat ability. He believes that if Wang Feng approaches the commander and is not very defensive against him, Wang Feng's assassination is likely to succeed, but the question is what happens after the assassination? The commander's position must be in the center of the headquarters. If the commander is assassinated and his life core is absorbed, all the devourers in the headquarters will know immediately when he dies. Therefore, it is impossible for them to sneak out after assassinating the commander. At that time, facing so many devourers, will Wang Feng still be as powerful as he is now? Although the devourer's devouring skill is ineffective against Wang Feng, making the devourers lose their greatest support when fighting against Wang Feng, when those devourers find that their skills are useless, what if they switch to cold weapons to fight against Wang Feng? Just now, when Wang Feng launched the gale, because he was always paying attention to Wang Feng, Number 7 felt the reduction of life energy in Wang Feng's body. Number 7 also knew that Wang Feng's physical strength was not infinite. If the devourer used the human sea tactics to exhaust Wang Feng's physical strength, it would not be a problem at all from the number of devourers stationed at the headquarters. And what Number 7 is most concerned about now is that he also has to take Wang Feng into the headquarters. When his identity is exposed, Wang Feng may not be able to take care of himself in the process of being surrounded and killed by the devourers, then he may be in danger. Well, it's not possible, but basically he has no chance to come out alive again. Wang Feng didn't know No 7's worries. He directly followed the direction directed by Tiankai and went all the way down to the underground parking lot. Since the devourer sealed all the entrances and exits of the underground parking lot, only one safety exit was left. There was no traffic, so Wang Feng walked all the way down the stairs. When Wang Feng walked down, he felt a little strange, because the devourers could sense their own kind within a certain distance, just like Apocalypse could sense the devourers now, but due to the change in Apostle John's life form, he was able to sense other devourers, but those devourers could not sense him. Because of this, Wang Feng was killing people up there. As long as the two guys below paid a little attention, they would be able to know what must have happened up there, because their partners are constantly decreasing, and now there is not even one left. Why? Will these two guys not react at all? In Apocalypse's induction, the positions of the two devourers have not moved at all. Could it be that the devourers have also learned to sleep with humans? If that's the case, that's a good thing. However, when Wang Feng came to the underground garage, he understood why the two devourers didn't notice what was happening above. It turned out that the two devourers were probably bored down there, and they were actually caught in these places. Among the humans living there, he selected 10 people, 5 men and women, and asked them to take off their clothes and play games in front of him. The devourer is not a human being, so it does not have the human function of passing on the family line, although today's humans no longer regard this as just a movement to continue future generations. But he showed great enthusiasm. These two devourers were probably out of curiosity, so they simply asked these people to perform in front of them. Because of fear, these selected people did not dare to resist at all, and could only do it honestly. The two devourers were so engrossed in what they were watching that they didn't even notice that all their companions had mysteriously disappeared. Even when Wang Feng walked gently behind them, the two devourers were still watching with relish. Watching the live broadcast in front of me. Seeing the expressions of the two devourers and what happened below, while Wang Feng was burning with anger, he suddenly had a whim. If these devourers like to see this, then if Teacher Kang is invited out of the mountain, maybe she might become the savior. Wang Feng slowly approached the two devourers. During this process, the two devourers were too focused and did not notice Wang Feng's arrival. On the contrary, several of the 10 extras saw Wang Feng's. Since they were all in normal positions, only 3 men discovered Wang Feng's arrival. Judging from their clothes, they could tell that Wang Feng was a human being, not a devourer. Moreover, Wang Feng also had the apocalypse shimmers with cold light. The clothes of the devourers are all transformed from life energy. They are all black tights, making them look like night walkers. Some of the devourers don't even bother to put on their faces, they just look like black ninjas. Image. Wang Feng's camouflage combat uniform directly showed his identity. Seeing Wang Feng's arrival, two of the three men who spotted him only showed a fleeting look of joy on their faces, and then lowered their heads, pretending not to see Wang Feng, but the reaction of the man on the far right made Wang Feng furious. When he saw Wang Feng, he was stunned. Then he immediately reached out to Wang Feng and shouted, "Help! Come and save me!" His words undoubtedly reminded the two devourers. The two devourers immediately turned around without thinking. At the same time, the two hands grabbed Wang Feng directly at the moment they turned back. At this time, the two devourers were shocked to realize that their companions were not within their sensing range. Although number 7 was waiting for Wang Feng in ambush outside, he was also afraid that his approach would alert these devourers, so he is not within the sensing range of his kind. When the man shouted, Wang Feng knew that he had been exposed, so the moment the two devourers turned around, Wang Feng's figure had already rushed in front of them, and the apocalypse in his hand was waved directly towards them. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 447. At the moment when the two devourers turned around and waved their fists towards Wang Feng's apocalypse had directly pierced the abdomen of the devourer on his right. The two devourers did not know what was happening above. Therefore, the position of the core of their consciousness has not been changed. In fact, it is useless to change it. Under the power of the Sky Eye, no matter where their core of consciousness is hidden, it will be discovered immediately. The two devourers, when their fists approached Wang Feng's body, found that Wang Feng did not dodge their attacks, so they directly changed their fists into claws and grabbed Wang Feng's shoulders, preparing to devour this unknown person. The sky is the limit for humanity. At the same time, a trace of doubt arose in their hearts. Where had their companions gone? Why are none of them missing? Of course, they did not expect that their companions had already been killed by Wang Feng alone, and all of them were put into apocalypse and turned into apocalypse points. The moment they put their palms on Wang Feng's shoulders, the two devourers were still planning to go up and see what happened after killing Wang Feng, but in the next moment, they knew that they didn't have to be so troublesome. The devourer on the right, while grabbing Wang Feng, was stabbed in the lower abdomen by apocalypse. Then his expression became stiff, and within a breath, his eyes lost their luster. Then, his body, was also taken into the apocalypse space by Wang Feng. In addition, the expression of the devourer was not much better than this. When he activated the devouring skill, he suddenly found that his devouring skill was ineffective against the human in front of him, and before he could figure out the reason for this, the companions around him lost their breath of life, and then disappeared strangely. The devourer finally understood where his companions had gone, and finally knew that this human being was their nemesis. But now, he knew that it was too late. Wang Feng's apocalypse had already penetrated his body. So he was immediately freed and followed his companions. After easily killing the two devourers, Wang Feng looked at the people in front of him. After Wang Feng started to take action, they had stopped moving. He saw that the two devourers had similar shapes in Wang Feng's hands. Under the cool sword, there was no room for resistance at all, and he was immediately overjoyed. "Is there anyone else?" Wang Feng asked, and with cold eyes, he glanced at the middle-aged man who shouted just now. Fortunately, it was him who was approaching from behind. He had the same strength as those two swallowing people. If you were a similar person, you might be killed by the words of help given by this guy just now. Ah! Yes. There are hundreds of people. The middle-aged man shuddered involuntarily when he saw Wang Feng's eyes, and then said quickly, "I will go and gather them right away." After saying that, the middle-aged man turned around and ran back, regardless of the fact that he was still naked. While running, he shouted, "Everyone gather together, someone is coming to save us. Come out quickly, don't let me wait for you. Hurry up." Wang Feng couldn't help but frown when he heard the middle-aged man's words, but he didn't intend to deal with these people's affairs here. The underground parking lot was very dark. Except for the place where those people performed just now, there was except for the devourer's flares, everything else was dark. And since all these people were eating, drinking and eating here, coupled with the performance just now, the rancid smell mixed with the smell of hormones was indescribably weird and made Wang Feng very uncomfortable. "Put on your clothes and come up here," Wang Feng said to the person in front of him, then turned towards the exit and returned to the ground along the stairs. Seeing Wang Feng return again, number 7 understood that Wang Feng had killed all his kind in this town, so he got up and came out of his hiding place and walked towards Wang Feng. "Have they all been killed?" Number 7 came to Wang Feng and asked out of curiosity. "What's wrong? What's the problem?" Wang Feng saw that No 7's expression seemed a little unnatural, so he nodded and then asked. "How long can your acceleration last?" Number 7 looked at Wang Feng and asked. "Haha. Are you worried that we won't be able to get out after entering the headquarters?" Wang Feng heard No 7's question and immediately understood his thoughts and chuckled. "No," number 7 shook his head and said, "I'm not worried that we can't get out, but I'm worried that I can't get out. I just calculated it for you. After you kill the devourer here, you activate your special powers. If possible, it took 52 seconds. During this period, you killed 42 devourers, not including the previous one. That is to say, it will take you at least more than a second to kill an ordinary devourer. Based on this time, if you want to kill all the nearly 10,000 devourers in the headquarters, at least it will take more than 3 hours. I don't think your acceleration ability can last that long. Furthermore, with my strength, without protection, I will never be able to hold on for more than a minute in the headquarters. The number of elite devourers inside definitely exceeds 500. Just a few of them can be killed in a short time. So I'm basically dead for this operation. Don't tell me that your strength is more than this. Even if your strength is twice or even twice as strong as what you just showed, there's nothing you can do about it. Shorten the time it takes to kill the devourer, right?" After hearing No 7's words, Wang Feng nodded directly and admitted happily, "That's right. My strength is more than this. I even have other powers that I haven't used yet, but I really can't shorten the attack. Time to kill the devourer. The devourer is not a human being. Only when Apocalypse absorbs all the core of his consciousness can he be truly killed. And for Apocalypse to absorb the core of a devourer's consciousness, it takes almost 1 second. This speed, at least temporarily, there's no way to speed it up." It was precisely because number 7 saw this that he asked Wang Feng this question. As a devourer, of course he knew what his fatal weakness was, and he had also seen the weirdness of Tiankai, but he did not reveal it. He doesn't care about Wang Feng's weapons. The only thing he cares about now is his own life. After finally getting free, he can enjoy the joy of life. He doesn't want to end up with Wang Feng after entering the headquarters. Killed by others of the same kind. No 7, Wang Feng looked at number 7 and said with a very solemn expression, "You are right, entering your headquarters is inherently dangerous. Even I am not sure that I can come out alive from there. But in this world, there are not so many things that can be done only after confirming that it is safe. In our human terms, risks and benefits are directly proportional. You should know that I set you free in order for you to help me defeat the devourer. This is the price for your freedom. You have accepted freedom. That is to say, if you get the benefit, then the next risk is what you have to bear. I am a human. And you are the devourer. In terms of identity, we should be opposites. If you can't bring me benefits and do what I want you to do, why should I keep you? Give me back your life core, let you become a free devourer. I can kill you like those devourers just now. Although you are now an elite level devourer, it is not difficult for me to kill you, so now you need to make a choice by yourself. If you continue to take me to your headquarters, the most I can do is promise, I can do my best to protect you while ensuring my own safety. If my life is also threatened, then I will give up on you without hesitation. I still bear the mission of our humanity. I cannot risk my life for a foreigner like you. I must make this clear to you first. You can decide for yourself whether to continue or stop our cooperation." After listening to Wang Feng's words, Number 7 smiled bitterly and shook his head without any hesitation. "Of course I will continue. If I continue, I can still survive to the headquarters and continue to enjoy a free life. If I stop, I guess it will be here. Is this my burial place?" "Yes," Wang Feng did not deny, "you are the devourer. If we no longer have a cooperative relationship, in order to prevent you from returning to the devourer and leaking information about me and my base, I can only kill you, and I also want to take back the core of life given to you. Actually, it makes no difference to me which devourer I cooperate with. If you don't do it on the 7th, I can find the 8th and 9th, or even the 1st and the 2nd. After all, you have given me your distribution location. It's not difficult for me to find some devourers." "Haha. Let's continue then," Number 7 said with a smile. "Number 2 is right. No matter what the outcome is, at least I have had a free life. Compared to him, I am much luckier." Number 2, Wang Feng was stunned, and then he thought that this Number 2 was the elite devourer who gave up resistance and allowed Number 7 to devour the core of his consciousness. He told Number 7 enviously at that time. This sentence. At this moment, there was a sound of footsteps behind him. Wang Feng looked back and saw a total of 9 people walking up. They were the 4 men and 5 women who had been pulled out by the 2 devourers as extras just now. The one who was opposite Wang Feng, the middle-aged man who shouted for help, and the other survivors he mentioned did not appear for some reason. "Are you here?" Looking at their clothes, Wang Feng frowned. Their clothes were almost the same as those without. They were almost torn into strips, but for the time being Wang Feng didn't have time to pay attention to this and asked them directly, "Where are the others?" Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 448. The group of people who came up looked at Number 7 with bewildered eyes, because Number 7 was dressed in the black clothes of the devourer, and his blood-red eyes were all showing his power to these people. Identity. Seeing the expressions of these people, Wang Feng shook his head helplessly, and then said, "You don't have to be afraid, he won't do anything to you." "Isn't he a cannibal?" asked a girl in her 20s. Maybe it was because of passion or fear, but her little face looked very rosy, and the girl's appearance she was indeed very beautiful. Wang Feng couldn't help but look at her carefully, and then replied, "Yes. But at present, he will not feed on humans. As long as you don't actively provoke him, you will basically be fine." "How many people have been captured by the devourers here, the cannibals you call them? Where are they now?" Several people glanced at each other, and then it was the girl who spoke first. Because her clothes were relatively tattered, the girl could only use her hands to block the leak spring light. She looked at Number 7 with a wary look on her face, and then looked towards her. Wang Feng opened his mouth and said, "The remaining people among us now, totaling about 800 or 900 people, are all in this underground parking lot. No one dares to escape privately. If they are discovered by cannibals, they will be eaten directly as food." Having said this, the girl looked at Number 7 subconsciously, hugged her body a little tighter, and then continued, "The person who just spoke is called Li Beiyu, and he is the manager assigned to us by the cannibals. When the humans are away, we all have to obey his orders. If anyone doesn't stop, he will report it to the cannibals and let them eat them. He is gathering those people below now. Because we are a little scared, we came up first to see if you are still there. I think that after a while, Li Beiyu will come up with other people." "Li Beiyu," Wang Feng snorted coldly, "this person seems to be not very good, right?" "Yeah," the girl nodded vigorously, with a look of hatred in her eyes. He is just a dog raised by the cannibals. He is willing to be their lackey. He is vicious to us, but respectful to his master. When we were first captured here, since he was captured from several different places, we didn't know him before and were not familiar with him. However, we are all human beings after all, so we naturally have to find a solution together. My brother and father were there at the time, and my father is an evolution, and my brother is a super evolution. We were originally in the same camp, but we were attacked by a swarm of mutated bees and escaped, and then we were caught by these cannibals. Here. When the girl said this, her eyes turned red, but no tears flowed out. Thinking of it, they had already dried up. She said in a choked tone, "My father and brother are not willing to be locked up here by these cannibals, because they don't avoid us when they eat people. We naturally know that although they look like humans, but it's definitely different from us." So my father and brother discussed with them how to escape, and made a plan to dig a passage out of the underground garage. The people who were imprisoned naturally all agreed, so everyone worked together to cover up and dug a tunnel in the underground garage without telling the cannibals. But when the tunnel was halfway dug, this matter was inexplicably leaked. Then, my father and brother, as well as more than 20 people who personally participated in the tunnel excavation, were all sucked and hummed in front of us. After killing all the people who dug the tunnels, these cannibals appointed Li Beiyu to be their agent among us. No one is allowed to disobey Li Baofeng's orders, otherwise, they will directly use them as food. Moreover, those cannibals, he also told Li Beiyu in front of us that when they need food in the future, he will help them choose. Everyone knows what the food these cannibals are talking about, so when the cannibals handed over this right to Li Beiyu, no one dared to object to any of his orders, even if everyone could see it, and put this authentic. The person whose secret was leaked was Li Beiyu, but no one dared to really question it. So, all the women here who can be attracted to him have become his playthings, and all the men have become his dogs. This idiot has worked hard to please his master. What you just saw in one scene, it was his suggestion, and he personally went into battle to please those cannibals who preyed on humans. The girl's words seemed to have been held in her heart for a long time, so she spoke endlessly, telling almost everything that happened after they were caught here. "You have become his woman, right?" Wang Feng squinted his eyes, looked at the girl, and asked softly, "You are also an evolved person? When you are together, well, you know what I mean. At that time, you should have had the opportunity to kill him and avenge your father and brother, but..." "Haha. Are you saying that I am greedy for life and afraid of death? In order to survive, I used my body to please the enemy who killed my father and brother, instead of choosing revenge." The girl smiled sadly, and then endless hatred shot out of her eyes. Gritted his teeth and said, "I had a chance to kill him, but that would be too cheap for him. How my father and brother died, I had to watch how he died. So I made every compromise and catered to him in every possible way. All his demands, I try my best to do it, no matter how humiliating it is. I will live until the day I am waiting for and see the scene I want to see." This idiot is always complacent and thinks that his status as the spokesperson of the cannibals is extremely valuable. He even thinks that after having the cannibals, his life will be better than before. Humph. He didn't want to think about it. Cannibals are cannibals. After eating all the other people, will they still keep him as their spokesperson? In their eyes, this Li Beiyu is no different from us at all. Food, it's just food. No matter how well the pig is cared for by its owner, it will eventually be slaughtered. So I know that as long as I can have a good relationship with Li Beiyu and let him keep me until the end, I will definitely be able to see him being sucked in and hummed slowly in front of me, just like my father and brother. Although I will be like him at that time, as long as I can see that scene, I will be willing to die no matter how miserable it is." Looking at the girl's resentful eyes, Wang Fengqing couldn't help but shudder. He finally understood the horror of a woman. When you are loved by a girl, you will feel extremely happy, but when you are loved by a girl, you will feel extremely happy. When your child hates you, you will wish you had never come to this world. Never offend a woman. Wang Feng once again understood a truth from the girl's words and expression. However, the fact that this girl can tell Li Baofeng's destined ending shows that this girl is actually very smart, at least smarter than most people. Being a dog to foreigners is destined to have no good ending, but there are countless people like to do it and are proud of it, and most people like this have two faces. He has a fierce expression towards his compatriots, but towards his master, he has an expression as if a grandpa has met his grandson. Lao Huan is not mistaken, it is a grandpa who has met his grandson. Wang Feng looked at the girl and was about to speak when he noticed noisy sounds coming from below. He knew that it was Li Beiyu who came up with the survivors below, so he turned around and walked back to where they are now. It is the safety exit of the underground parking lot. It is a very narrow staircase, and there is not much space outside. Wang Feng felt that it would be better to go to the central square. After all, there were 800 or 900 people down there, and there was simply no room for standing here. But just after turning around and taking 2 steps, Wang Feng stopped. Then he took out his own camouflage combat uniform from the apocalypse space, turned around and threw it to the girl, and said lightly, "Put it on, and then after they come up, let them all come to the central square." The girl took the clothes and without thinking, tore off all the rags on her body. Then, in front of Wang Feng and others, she put on the camouflage combat uniform that Wang Feng threw to her as if nothing had happened. Although Wang Feng is relatively thin and has a relatively large frame as a man, and the girl went into battle in a vacuum and wore the camouflage uniform directly on the outside with nothing on the inside, but because the girl was originally taller, she is tall and has a very hot figure, so Wang Feng's camouflage uniform fits this girl quite well. After watching the girl change her clothes in shock, Wang Feng came back to his senses. Now he felt that this girl seemed even crazier than Zhang Xiu's crazy girl, but after thinking about her experience, he felt relieved. Now this girl's belief that can support her survival must be to see her enemy die in extremely painful way. Everything else has long been forgotten in her heart. Thinking of what she just said, Wang Feng winked at number 7 and motioned for him to follow him. Although number 7 was a little confused, he still came to Wang Feng's side and walked towards the central square together. Number 7. When these guys arrive later, you cooperate with me in a play. Wang Feng looked forward, but whispered to number 7. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 449. Hearing Wang Feng's words, number 7 looked at Wang Feng with some confusion. Wang Feng then remembered that number 7 was not a human being, and it was difficult for him to understand the lying or deceiving behavior of humans. He must be quite incompetent to do such things, so he simply shook his head and said, "Forget it. I will be the only one talking later, just nod your head and agree, and don't show your future expression when you hear me." Suspicious expression, No 7's face was even more confused. Yes. That's the expression, don't have it later. Wang Feng pointed at No 7's face and said, "Anyway, they have walked a distance now, and the girl and the other people have all stayed at the exit of the garage. At this time, they are talking to Li Beiyu, who just brought people up. It seems that he is conveying Wang Feng's orders and has no time to pay attention to Wang Feng and others. What expression do I want?" Number 7 is still confused. "Don't have any expression, not even this kind of questioning look." Wang Feng was a little depressed. "You can't even do this." Number 7 thought about it, and then simply changed his face, turning himself into a black-clothed masked man, revealing only 2 blood-red eyes, and then looked at Wang Feng and asked, "Is this okay?" In fact, Number 7 was also very puzzled. His eyes were all this color. How did Wang Feng see the questioning look in his eyes? After reading it, Wang Feng nodded and thought that this should be okay, so he took number 7 to the statue in the central square. He looked up at the statue of this town and found that it was a person he didn't know. Wang Feng glanced at the text introduction under the statue and found that it was written on it. Wang Xiaoming, whose name is Jixin, nicknamed Jingui, is said to be a sea in Jingui town. Because of the public anger, this person was filled into the sea. The sea was flat, so there was this town, so it was named Jingui town. This statue was erected to warn future generations. Wang Feng suddenly realized it, thinking that it was no wonder that the statue of this guy was kneeling, so he simply jumped onto the statue and sat on the head of the statue, waiting for the survivors to arrive. Number 7 was also looking at the words below, but although he understood the common language of humans, he could not read human characters, so he looked up and asked, "What is written on it?" "I find that you devourers are very curious. It's okay to like to see how humans pass on their genes, but you even ask this." Wang Feng looked depressed, but looked up at the survivors and found that they had not all come up yet. Because the staircase was small and there were many people, it seemed that it would take a while, so he read the words under the statue to number 7. After listening, number 7 looked around the size of the town, then shook his head and said, "I know the sea, this town doesn't seem to be that big, right? It's just a legend." Wang Feng said, "Learn more about human history, and you will know what a legend is. For example, look at the story of the widow chasing the sun." Number 7 was about to continue talking, but at this time, the girl was already walking towards them, and Li Baofeng, with other people, followed the girl. Maybe it was because Wang Feng gave the girl clothes that these people felt a little afraid of the girl, and they regarded her as Wang Feng's spokesperson. Seeing this, Wang Feng said directly, "Number 7. Stand on the right side of the statue first. If you can't act, just learn from the statue. It shouldn't be difficult to stand still, right?" Number 7 nodded, said nothing, and stood to the right of the statue as Wang Feng said. Soon, all the survivors of Jingui town came to the front of the statue, but when they saw number 7 on the right side of the statue, everyone's eyes were filled with fear. Perhaps because of the girl's words before, Wang Feng seemed to feel that some of the survivors looked at number 7 with some flattery. Li Beiyu looked at number 7, then at Wang Feng, and was obviously a little confused about the relationship between the two. However, when he saw the camouflage uniform on the girl, which was the same as Wang Feng's, he seemed to have made a decision in his heart, so he walked towards number 7. "Sir. Excuse me, you are a devourer, right?" Number 7's clothes and his eyes completely confirmed his identity, but Li Beiyu still asked for confirmation, and he called number 7 a devourer, not the cannibals, the girl said, which shows that Li Beiyu has a certain understanding of devourers. It seems that his previous master was really good to him, at least he told him the name of his race, unlike other people, who didn't even know what killed them. Number 7 didn't speak, but nodded. Although he was free, it didn't mean that his race would change. He was still a devourer. "Sir. Great, do you know where the other adults above went?" "This person." At this point, Li Beiyu looked at Wang Feng, hesitated, and continued, "This person was just down there, and it seems that he killed 2 of your people." Although Wang Feng didn't seem to be controlled by the devourer number 7, Li Beiyu still decided to take a gamble. It was obvious that Wang Feng was leaning towards that girl, and that girl was quite beautiful, at least here. Among the people, there was no one more beautiful than her. Otherwise, he would not have killed the girl's father and brother and still kept the girl as his plaything instead of giving her to the devourer as food. In Li Beiyu's view, Wang Feng must be the same as himself, coveting the beauty of this girl. This is a common problem among men, and there is no way to resolve the hatred between him and this girl. Although the girl was before Wang Feng and the others arrived, and was still obedient to him, but Li Beiyu knew that once the girl got the chance, she would definitely not let him go. Although the person sitting on the statue is only one person, he must be very strong. If the girl hugs his thigh, she may directly stab him, so Li Beiyu feels that he should give it a try, at least there is still a way to survive. After coming up just now, Li Beiyu looked at the hotel carefully and did not see any devourers at the window, but he certainly would not think that these devourers were all killed by Wang Feng. He would only think that maybe those adults were out looking for food again or something. Although Wang Feng had just killed 2 devourers in front of him, Wang Feng's slow approach before was clearly preparing for a sneak attack. Although he deliberately shouted for help at the time to remind the 2 devourers, however, the 2 devourers were still not saved, and they still died under Wang Feng's sword. However, from the point of view of Wang Feng needing a sneak attack, his strength should not be much higher than that of Devourer. If his strength can crush Devourer, he should stand behind Devourer and whistle twice to attract Devourer. He grabbed the attention of the attackers, then stretched out his hand, hooked his fingers at them, then drew his sword and rushed towards them, killing them instantly. This master's show-off routine is much more impressive than a sneak attack. At least, this is how masters in TV series act, isn't it? Therefore, Li Beiyu guessed that it was just Wang Feng's good luck that he caught up with the devourers and discovered the underground garage by accident. He used despicable sneak attacks to kill the 2 devourers and then rescued them. Of course, even if Wang Feng relied on a sneak attack to kill the devourers, Li Beiyu was absolutely clear that Wang Feng was stronger than him and was definitely not something he could defeat. Therefore, now Li Beiyu is looking forward to the devourers who originally occupied this place. It's best to come back quickly, otherwise you might be in trouble. After hearing Li Beiyu's words, number 7 had no reaction, because Wang Feng asked him to pretend to be a statue. Naturally, the statue should not speak, but this guy had forgotten that he nodded just now. This action should not be something that the statue could do either. Made. Hey, Wang Feng raised his head to Li Beiyu, called him, and then asked coldly, do you still know what you are? Is it really that good to be a dog from a foreign race? Wang Feng was very happy in his heart. He was angry and sighing at the same time. When the girl was talking about Li Beiyu's character just now, Wang Feng thought she would exaggerate. After all, this girl's hatred for this Li Beiyu is too strong, and her words will inevitably be excessive or even exaggerated. But now it seems that this girl has not wronged this Li Beiyu, at least, in terms of Li Beiyu's willingness to be the devourer's dog. Absolutely nothing wrong. He and number 7 are both here, and he is the one who just brought Li Beiyu and others out. Unexpectedly, after Li Beiyu came up, he actually got close to number 7, and even testified in front of number 7 that he killed and swallowed down there. Who? Is this a human being? Are you really addicted to being a dog? Could it be that Li Beiyu really couldn't imagine his final outcome? Or did he not think about it at all? Li Beiyu looked at Wang Feng, then at number 7, and hid behind number 7 with some fear. Number 7 was pretending to be a statue, so there was no reaction. Unexpectedly, Li Beiyu took this lack of reaction as tacit approval. Thinking that this was a sign that number 7 would protect him, so he suddenly became more courageous, pointed at Wang Feng and said loudly, "What's wrong with being a dog? At least I'm a high-class dog. Have you ever heard that I would rather be a chicken head than a phoenix tail? On Lord Devourer's side, I am a dog, but among humans, I am the boss. They are all my dogs. I can play with whoever I want and beat whoever I want. What's wrong with being such a dog? This is the humming end of the world. Don't talk to me about benevolence, justice, and morality. Can that thing be used as food or as a wife to sleep with? I don't want anything, as long as I live comfortably, believe it or not. Don't look at you sitting here now, there are 5 people and 6 people there. When the adults come back, You have to be a dog for me. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 450. Li Beiyu got more and more angry as he scolded, and finally walked out from behind number 7, pointed at Wang Feng and said, "Don't think you are invincible just because you killed 2 devourers by relying on sneak attacks. Do you know how many devourers there are here? Do you know how many devourers there are in the world? Their strength is simply not something that we humans can compete with. Sooner or later they will rule this planet. I was the first to join them. In the future, I will be the biggest among humans. What the hell do you know? How dare you teach me a lesson? The devourer eats people. You think it is cruel? Don't people stop eating people? In this end of the world, I have seen a lot of cannibals. I have eaten them myself. Even before the end of the world, there were some cannibals, right? There are more people killing people. Is there a big difference between killing people and cannibalism? Even if you say you've never eaten or killed anyone, you've always eaten meat, right? Humans eat a lot of animals. Why don't you think it's cruel? Who the hell has never eaten meat? Stand up and show me. Don't pretend to be a saint in front of me. You don't need to comment on what I did and whether I did it right. I just want to live a comfortable life. If you don't believe me, kill me. If you can't kill me, just leave me alone. Chi wei. Everything I do is to survive. What's wrong with you? If you want to fight against the devourers, I'll just do it for them. It's none of your business. You don't even know the number of devourers, so you want to be the savior? Do you think there are only 2 devourers in this world? Since. Shut up, Wang Feng shouted loudly, interrupting Li Beiyu's words. I'm paralyzing you. You're so excited, aren't you? Wang Feng jumped down from the statue and came to Li Beiyu. With his hands behind his back, he looked at Li Beiyu and asked, "How do you know that I don't know the number of devourers?" "I don't know that you do. The number of devourers here before, including his foreign one, is 46 in total." Wang Feng brought his hand to the front, pointed at number 7, then turned his back again and said, "Now there is 1, the others, those 45, have been killed by me. As for the number of devourers in the world, when they first came to our planet, the total number of devourers was 48,000. Now, there must not be so many, because I have killed many, and I didn't count them carefully. Besides, who knows if some devourers have died in other places. However, in a year, there will be an army of devourers coming to our planet. As for how many there will be at that time, I am not good at mathematics and cannot count them. So much." At this point, Wang Feng squinted at the stunned Li Beiyu and asked with contempt, "How is it? Is there any difference between the number I gave you and what your master told you?" Li Beiyu was really shocked by Wang Feng's disguise at this time. Naturally, it was impossible for the devourers to take the initiative to tell him the exact number of devourers. He only learned from the content of those devourers' chats with each other that the entire planet was now the total number of devourers is less than 50,000. As for a large number of devourers who will come in a year, he doesn't know. But at least the number of devourers in this town, Wang Feng is right, 45 plus 1, that's 46. Of course Li Beiyu would not make a mistake in calculating such a simple math problem. How did this guy know such an accurate amount? Is it true that, as he said, all the devourers in Jingui town, except this one who is still standing here, were killed by this man? Looking at Wang Feng's expression, Li Beiyu couldn't help but believe what he said. Moreover, number 7, who was standing aside, did not have any refutation of Wang Feng's words. This was the most powerful proof. Looking at number 7, Li Beiyu swallowed a mouthful of saliva and asked softly, "Then, he is? I don't know if your master has told you. If not, then I will tell you now. This devourer is different from the devourers you have seen before. This one is a little more powerful than those. Wang Feng looked at it. Watch number 7 say. Your master is the lowest level among the devourers. Among them, he is called the Predator. This guy is an elite level devourer. The higher level ones are the commander level devourers. Besides, do you know why he is standing here motionless now? Wang Feng suddenly asked with a smile. Li Beiyu opened his mouth, but did not dare to tell the answer. Because I originally wanted him to cooperate with me in a play, but this guy doesn't understand human behavior very well, so he doesn't know how to cooperate. So, I simply let him pretend to be a statue here, Wang Feng said. You think Devourer is powerful, so you choose to be Devourer's dog, but I think Devourer can be defeated completely, so I killed many Devourers, and I can still let this elite Devourer do things for me. You say that I am quite a savior? Then I will tell you now, regarding the Devourer invasion, I will be the savior. I will kill all the Devourers that you think are invincible and make them regret coming. Our planet. Wang Feng said loudly. Do you know the difference between a big shot and a small citizen? Even though the same thing seems impossible, some people still dare to challenge it and take action, while some people directly deny themselves in their hearts and withdraw completely. He doesn't even have the courage to try. Anyone who dares to do it has a chance of success. Once he succeeds, he is a hero and a big shot. Even if he fails, as long as he is not dead, he still has a chance of success. If you don't dare even once, you will never achieve anything. And you. Not only did you not dare to resist, but you chose to help the enemies of mankind. Your fate was already determined the moment you made your choice. Do you know why it is said, don't do to others what you don't want others to do to you? Because of the way of heaven, the cycle, what you do to others will fall on you one day, and your cycle is today. Did you see the words on it? Wang Feng pointed to the character introduction engraved on the statue and said, do you know what kind of public outrage this guy committed? Why was it reclaimed? And why was the statue erected as a warning to the world? Man. What you are doing now is similar to what he did back then. Unfortunately, there is no sea for you to fill. At this point, Wang Feng turned around and looked at the girl, then turned around and said with a smile, but you are lucky, someone has already chosen a way to die for you, so you are quite happy. Remember to tell them later. Say thank you. Li Beiyu felt like crying at this time, but the most important thing was that he had to quickly find a way to save his life. Looking at the survivors on the opposite side, Li Beiyu suddenly shouted, you, save me, ah! Am I not treating you well? If I had chosen you when I was choosing food for the devourers, you would have died by now. So I'm kind to you. You can't just watch me die. Can you say something to me and beg for mercy? Ah! Please. I don't want to die, I really don't want to die. Li Beiyu suddenly knelt on the ground, kowtowing desperately to the survivors, completely ignoring that his head was bruised and bleeding, and prayed to the survivors with snot and tears, but none of the survivors were willing to replace him. As he spoke, some people even looked at Wang Feng expectantly, as if they wanted to know how this guy would die. Looking down at Li Beiyu, Wang Feng suddenly thought of Hu Yahuan. This Li Beiyu seemed to have something in common with Hu Yahuan. They both wanted to survive desperately. However, in order to survive, Hu Yahuan chose to ignore death and protect himself wisely. But this Li Beiyu went even further. He chose to help the tiger. I wonder if Hu Yahuan would make the same choice as Li Beiyu if he were placed in Li Beiyu's position. Wang Feng was really not sure. At Zhao Ying's camp, they once said that Hu Yahuan had also arrived there, but later, no matter how hard I searched, I couldn't find him. It seemed that after discovering Wang Feng, he slipped away quietly. Number 7. No need to pretend to be a statue. Wang Feng shook his head and drove away his messy thoughts. He didn't know why he suddenly thought of Hu Yahuan. Next, it's time for you to eat. Dine, Number 7 looked at Wang Feng. Didn't you say that I'm not allowed to feed on humans anymore? Yes, Wang Feng nodded. Didn't you hear just now? This guy just said that he is willing to be the devourer's dog. I definitely don't agree with you eating people, but you eat the devourer's dog. I have no objection, and since this opportunity is rare, I advise you, it's best to eat it slowly. Wang Feng said, with a fierce light shining in his eyes. In this way, you devourer dogs can feel the care of their masters. Hearing Wang Feng's words, Li Beiyu had a look of despair in his eyes. Then he closed his eyes and struck his head with a sudden palm. From Wang Feng's words, he naturally knew what was waiting for him, even if it was, being extremely selfish. He also shuddered at that scene, let alone now that such a thing was about to happen to him. The girl also heard Wang Feng's words. In fact, when Wang Feng looked at her just now, she vaguely guessed Li Beiyu's ending. But when this moment really came, she was still ecstatic. After all, the meaning of her life now is to witness this moment with her own eyes. However, when the girl saw that Li Beiyu wanted to commit suicide, her face changed drastically. If Li Beiyu died like this, she would never be willing to accept it. The humiliation she had suffered before would have been completely in vain. But now she is not at all. There was no time to stop Li Beiyu's movements. Pa, as Li Beiyu's palm fell, there was a soft sound. Li Beiyu opened his eyes and looked above his head, and immediately saw a pair of blood-red eyes.